You ever just think about how most of the blades in this game are just cute girls, and then you get stuff like Cressidus? Design philosophies aside, today we're going to be discussing Cressidus, the first New Game Plus exclusive blade in this series. He is a gacha blade that can only be obtained during New Game Plus, and has some unique properties that other blades do not have because of that. Initially ranked near the top of D tier, he might be a bit better than I thought after using him a bit more, so I'm actually excited to make this video. He is initially fought as Mikhail's blade at the end of Chapter 4, only to presumably be killed by Mithra afterwards, and never to be seen again, but here he is now, ready to be used. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Cressidus, discussing all of his strengths and weaknesses, and seeing how to use him most effectively. If you enjoy these guides, be sure to subscribe to the channel and look forward to all of my future content because it does help me out so much. Let's get into it. So Cressidus has a unique weapon called the Royal Guard, which can also be referred to as the Rock-Rending Gauntlets. It is a clone weapon of the Knuckle Claw weapon class, meaning it shares animations with the class even if all of the artifacts are different. The New Game Plus exclusive blades are unique in that when you pull them, they automatically come with a powerful core chip that cannot be changed at all, so the stats you get are basically set in stone and auto attack can only be changed by trust. Cressidus is a tank class blade and his core chip gives him an auto attack stat of 1328 when you're at S plus trust, which is alright for a tank blade, and he comes with a very low critical hit rate of only 10%, which is a bit unfortunate. He also has a 35% block rate, which is pretty decent, and a massive 40% physical defense, along with a pretty solid 20% ether defense, which gives him some pretty effective tanking stats. He also comes with a 20% max HP mod, and his core chip automatically gives the driver another 500 HP, so the driver you use Cressidus on will basically always have maxed out health at 9999, which can be pretty beneficial for a tank. His cooldown is 3 when maxed out, which is among the lowest in the game, so not too great there, but as usual, his skill tree is what really matters, so let's take a look at that. Cressidus' first skill is Trespass. This will deal damage to all enemies on the field when Cressidus is swapped in via Blade Switch. It has universal range, so it will always hit everything, and this has the exact same description at every level. I could bring out the exact formula for this and how much damage you get per level, but honestly that isn't really worth doing because the damage you get from swapping Cressidus isn't going to be very noticeable at all, and will likely be doing less damage than his arts. It can be nice for the universal range, but honestly it's pretty inconsequential, and with a longer cooldown to swap in on Cressidus anyway, you aren't too likely to see much tangible benefit out of this. It does technically have some uses in like 2 challenge mode missions just for the universal range against very weak enemies that are far away, but it's so inconsequential for normal play that it's hard to exactly call it an amazing skill. Cressidus' second skill is Double Team. This will increase the damage of his level 4 special by 60% at level 1 and 180% at level 5. We'll talk a bit more about his level 4 specifically later. As a general rule, I'm not a major fan of a skill like this that only affects a small part of a blade's kit, but Cressidus might be an exception just because his level 4 is actually very beneficial and synergizes very well with his kit and his earth element. It's hard to explain exactly why without seeing everything else first, so just for now, this skill is decent enough for Cressidus specifically, and makes his level 4 hit pretty hard, which is pretty nice. We'll talk more about all the benefits soon. Cressidus' final skill is Senton. This will increase his damage to toppled enemies by 50% at level 1, rising up to 150% at level 5, and each hit Cressidus does will extend the topple duration further. So for one, a 150% damage increase to toppled enemies is pretty nice on its own, but Cressidus can also extend the topple duration. Now unfortunately there is a hard cap on how much topple can be extended because it just keeps ticking down even if you continue to hit a toppled enemy. I guess they didn't want to replicate topple locking from the first game, which absolutely would have been possible otherwise with a galaxy or black cube to double your auto attacks. The skill is actually pretty strong. Now it does have some conflicts with launching abilities that will cut it short, but if you're careful about how you use this skill, you can get a lot of benefit from it. Because each attack increases topple duration of enemies, that's more time Cressidus gets his damage bonus, which helps him both maintain aggro and just be useful overall, since the longer an enemy is toppled, the less they can do their own actions at all. I actually like this skill a lot after testing it out a bit more. I don't know if it has a ton of practical uses, but I think it's a good skill. More on this later because we need to discuss his specials before I can really explain how everything works well together. Cressidus' level 1 special is Dead Ball. This is a single hit, ether-based attack with the average damage ratio you might expect of 300 at level 1, 460 at level 5, and 480 at max affinity. It's very fast overall, which can be nice for setting up quick combos, but outside of that it is pretty unspectacular and probably not one of his better specials. The bonus effect annuls guard entirely, which is alright I guess, but block rates aren't usually high enough you need to worry about it on a single hit special. All around, probably his worst special. Cressidus' level 2 special is Berserk March. This is a physical 4-hit special with a pretty decent area of effect radius around Cressidus. It's even more interesting because the damage ratio is insane. It's 440 at level 1, 680 at level 5, and 725 at max affinity, which is among the highest for level 2 specials in the entire game, beating out some Blade's level 3 ratios. I have no idea why it's so high, but it also comes with a 50% critical hit modifier, which would be pretty crazy if Cressidus had a better crit rate than 10%, but regardless, the special hits pretty dang hard. The bonus effect isn't the greatest, and it's only increasing aggro drawn, but it's not actually too bad since the special is pretty powerful, so doubling that aggro can actually be pretty useful for Cressidus, and is one of the better tanks at keeping aggro. Cressidus' level 3 special is Earth Breath. This is an ether-based single-hit special that is also very fast. It seems to fulfill a different purpose besides damage because the damage ratio is much more expected, 550 at level 1, 710 at level 5, and 748 at max affinity, which isn't much higher than his level 2. But this time around, the bonus effect is restoring 50% of damage dealt to the entire party, and given how fast the special is, it can be a great panic button healing option, which is pretty rare on a tank blade, but actually pretty useful nonetheless. It works pretty well for that purpose, and despite not having great damage, it can be good special, and even has an area of effect radius that's pretty decent, which is also nice. All around, this is a decent special option if you need healing. Now, all those specials are pretty good, but none of them really compare to his level 4 special, which is Star Crusher. The special automatically gets that 180% damage boost, of course, but it also has a damage ratio of 1075, which is pretty solid overall, and it also has the bonus effect of increasing critical damage by 85%, which is one of the strongest effects a special can have normally, but a bit less good here since his crit rate is only 10%. This special does have a 40% critical hit modifier, so critical hits aren't terribly uncommon, so that's nice at the very least. So combining all of these aspects together, the special can hurt a lot. However, that isn't really the best aspect of this. As you may know, level 4 specials freeze driver combos while they're being used. Specifically, this can work very well with Topple because it's a lot of hits, which will extend the duration while the driver combo is frozen, and get another big 150% damage boost from the enemy being toppled. So you are effectively increasing the topple duration from using the special without having to do anything else, and it will last a while after the special ends. Because Cressidus is also Earth Element, he can combo well into Fire, which will set up Volcano, which is the strongest damage over time effect in the game. Since Topple will be extended a long time, it gives your allies plenty of time to use specials on the same Topple for very powerful double-stacked fusion combo setups, and powerful damage over time effects. What I'm saying is that this special is very good and useful, and synergizes super well with his kit as a whole. Toppling enemies, then using level 4 on them will never not have uses because of how his kit works with increased level 4 damage, and every hit extending topple duration and doing more damage too. It's a great way to use Cressidus, and works very well with strong fire blades to get a lot of damage very, very quickly, and just keeping an enemy toppled as long as possible is always going to be useful. I think his kit actually works very well together, even if I don't know of any super optimal uses for it yet. We'll talk more about that later though. For now, setup. As I said, you cannot equip any core chip on him, so for aux cores, I am running Fusion Combo up to boost all Fusion Combo effects because this also synergizes well with his level 4 on Topple setup, and I think it's a great aux core on him because of that. Night Vision is in the other slot for accuracy against high agility enemies, but otherwise Affinity Max Attack is a great option just to give Cressidus some decent damage basically all the time. For accessories, I am running the Rainbow Belt on Zeke because keeping an enemy toppled as long as possible is very beneficial to Cressidus, so he might as well keep the enemy on the ground even longer. Zeke has a topple art with Cressidus, making him the ideal driver here. Staunch Boots are here to increase damage to toppled enemies by another 135%, which is a huge total. We want to keep enemies on the ground and do as much damage as possible, so this works well. Divine Van Brace is in the last slot just for a general damage increase, but other options like Burst Symbol can work just as well for support. You may even consider Noise Dampener for higher art damage if you want that. I highly recommend teaming up Cressidus with Cutie Pie using Fire Element since you want her amazing break art and ability to combo out of you with massive damage. For pouch setup, Cressidus has high cooldowns on his art, so he definitely wants more art recharge as much as possible, for more art spamming, for more level 4s, and for more topples. With all that done, let's take a look at how to use Cressidus practically. So one thing I have done for this specifically is remove the launch art from Tora. Now Rex does have a launch art because I'm using Dagas on him just for the damage boost, but Rex doesn't often use that launch art very effectively, I find. Of course, as I say that, he launches right here, but for the most part, he doesn't really effectively use it that much, so we can get a huge benefit out of the increased topple duration and damage. The goal basically is just charge up your level 4 as fast as possible, and you can use topples to make sure you're not being attacked during that. Although Cressidus has so much defense, it's not really a major deal if you can't get like an early topple or anything. He'll probably be fine regardless. And once you get that next topple, you're going to want to use your level 4 for sure, especially if you've got the level 3 charged up on Tora's Volcano here. Because if you do this fusion combo here, you can see the topple still lasting a really long time. It's finally ticking down now. You can see this Volcano I just did a massive amount of damage. Like the individual hits of PewDiePie's level 3 were doing like 700,000 per crit. And the damage over time effect is over 500,000 now. So Tyranititan's health has now gone down extremely fast. And he's just going to be dead straight up from just one very quick combo like that. When he didn't even finish the blade combo out, it was just a level 4 into PewDiePie's Volcano. And this works on pretty much every enemy. I'm going to show this off against Cloud Sea King Ken here because he has quite a bit more health. And one good thing about PewDiePie's level 3 is it has that pierce effect, so no matter what the defense of the enemy is, you can always get damage like that if you're lucky enough with the critical hit rate and everything, so you get a 500,000 damage over time effect against Ken pretty easily, and that's kind of what I wanted to try to do here. I don't know if I was that successful. I think I got unlucky with crits this time around, or not as lucky at least. And you can see right here, the level 4 that the Cressidus is doing just does a lot of damage in general. All these crits and everything he's able to get sometimes, and everything just does a ton of damage. You're always going to get that damage capped stone, pretty much. And then PewDiePie goes in for the pretty massive damage on Ken here, the Topple Volcano. And we get another huge damage over time effect. It's just ticking down, 473,000. Now, if I had a blade that smashed, I could increase this even further and get, like, up to damage cap and only, like, 2 smashes or so, which would be really impressive, too. I don't really need to do that since it's just normal mode, and I just wanted to show off the concept more than anything, and, yeah, this is just something that's just a really powerful strategy, and I can also charge at the level 4 again. I don't really want to use it, because otherwise I'll lose my Volcano from the Mega Eruption, but I can have it there. Right now, my goal is to just do damage every time he's toppled so that we can keep the topple lasting for longer. One thing you can also do during damage over time effects to make them last longer is use chain attacks, and it's going to tick during the entire chain attack at a much slower rate, and you can just get a bunch of free damage out of that even if you're not actually hitting him with specials. So that's another thing you can do, keep that in mind, and pretty effective here, because even without having the most damage from the actual damage in the chain attack, we're still able to get a lot from the damage over time effect, and he's already under half HP now. And, yeah, we're able to extend the topple duration a ton also. Like I said, they have a hard cap on it. I guess they didn't want you to have the Xenoblade 1 topple locking, otherwise Cressidus would actually be extremely broken, I guess. And honestly, I think he's a lot better than I gave him credit for. I think he's at least C tier the more I've played with him. Because I think this is just a really, really good strategy in general that I hadn't really given much attention to before. Look at how long that topple lasts before Rex finally launched there. That's just insane, for this game at least. So yeah, just the double stack fusion combo with Cressidus into like a Volcano user is just really, really powerful. And it works pretty much every time because of how long you can extend topple duration. And PewDiePie's level 3 is particularly extremely powerful with the right setup. I think I've got like Topple Plus and Into the Ground on Tora, along with like Crimson Headband, Saber Attachment, just a bunch of things to just boost his damage so you can get a ton of damage out of this. That's going to be it. Ken's dead. Less than 3 minutes using Cressidus as our main character, which is... and not using much in the way of like a super powerful chain attack strategy. Obviously, we could have killed him faster if we did that, but I just kind of wanted to show more of a proof of concept. We did use some chain attack, but it was more for the damage over time than the chain attack damage itself. I don't even really have burst symbols right now. And yeah, that's just kind of how powerful Cressidus is. You can destroy these little easy enemies here, no problem as well. You get good topple duration against them as well. Cressidus really shines on its enemies you can topple and keep toppled for a while. So, this is one of the only situations I might recommend taking the launch art off of Tora, because otherwise it's going to be super useful every other time. I want to quickly show off the Cressidus switch damage here. You saw I just swapped in with Cressidus there, which is, it didn't really do all that much to like the important enemy there. It did a decent amount to like the normal enemies, and you can kind of see how it can be somewhat useful at times. I probably should have had a longer clip, so my apologies about that, but I want to show off more Cressidus fighting. Right now, we've only got Tora as our ally here. This is normal mode again. I probably could have done Bringer Chaos here to more easily show everything and make him not go evasive right at the start here. because he doesn't actually have all that much HP, so this was actually probably not the move here. But at the same time, you can kind of just see how very effective the strategy can be. Like, we're going to topple him, we're going to use our level 4, it's going to do a massive amount of damage, especially if we can get some crits. I don't know if I end up getting any crits. I don't get any, but you know what, that's okay, not a big deal. Because we still get almost damage cap, and then we can just combo that with Tora's level 3, which is just going to annihilate him. We don't even get the volcano before he just ends up just dying from that, because of the 600,000 like per hit that he was doing there. I don't know how Tora died, doesn't really matter, because, you know, we just got Cressidus, we can just topple this dude, and now he's just going to be stuck on the ground for a while here. I guess I was too focused on PewDiePie's damage to care about her health. You can just see every single hit just increases the topple duration further, which... It's actually really good. I think it's pretty freaking good overall, and I think this level 4 is really good when you topple an enemy, because it just makes it last a long time and can just do a lot of damage to them in general. Let's see, I think it just lasts the rest of the time. Yeah, he's just stuck on the ground. It hasn't even started ticking down yet. Finally does, and he's dead. Yeah, I think Cressidus is better than I gave him credit for. He's really good with fusion combo setups, and just in general keeping the enemy toppled, which is actually pretty valuable. And he's also pretty beefy as a tank. He's not going to die very easily at all because of his huge defenses and very high HP. So yeah, I think Cressidus is actually pretty good. I think that's going to cover it for this video, so I do hope you guys have learned something from watching this. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment down below about how much you like Cressidus and how we need more cool blade designs like him instead of just cute girls. Although I like cute girls a lot too. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate all of the support, and I will hopefully see you back soon. Thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful and blessed day.